Have you ever felt like you're wasting time, caught up in things you can't control, overthinking decisions, or waiting for life to truly begin? It's easy to get stuck in a cycle of frustration, reacting to the world instead of shaping your own path. But what if you could break free from that? What if you could train your mind to focus only on what matters, to let go of distractions, and to live with real purpose? The ancient Stoics mastered this way of thinking, and their wisdom is more relevant today than ever. In this video, we'll explore the 7 Stoic principles that will help you take control of your life, stop overthinking, and finally, focus on what truly matters. Stay with me. This could change everything. Number 1. Stop wasting time on things you can't control. A modern-day Stoic wakes up each morning knowing that the world is chaotic, unpredictable, and often unfair. There will be people who misunderstand him, events that don't go his way, and circumstances that test his patience. But none of that truly matters because he understands what Epictetus once said: freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. This mindset isn't about apathy, it's about power. Too many people live as prisoners to things they cannot change. They obsess over the opinions of others, replay past mistakes in their heads, and waste their energy worrying about things that may never even happen. But worrying doesn't stop bad things from happening. It only robs the present of its peace. A true Stoic learns to separate what is within his power from what is not. He cannot control the economy, but he can control his work ethic. He cannot prevent others from gossiping, but he can choose to live with integrity. He cannot stop the aging process, but he can train his mind and body to remain strong. Most importantly, he understands that his happiness does not depend on external events, but on the perspective he chooses to take. Take, for example, a young entrepreneur who puts his heart and soul into a business venture, only to watch it fail due to market changes. A non-Stoic might spiral into frustration, blaming the economy, investors, or sheer bad luck. He might spend years dwelling on what could have been. The Stoic, however, quickly assesses the situation. What was in my control? What wasn't? He learns the lessons, adjusts his course, and moves forward, knowing that his response is all that truly matters. This philosophy applies to everyday life as well. Imagine being stuck in traffic when you're already late for a meeting. Many would slam their hands on the steering wheel, curse under their breath, and stress themselves into exhaustion. But what does that change? The Stoic recognizes the futility of anger in that moment. He turns on an audiobook, practices deep breathing, or simply sits in silence, understanding that the traffic is outside his control, but his mindset is not. In the modern world, distractions and uncontrollable events are everywhere. Social media fuels outrage over things far beyond our reach. News headlines make people feel helpless, but the Stoic refuses to be a victim of these forces. He directs his attention where it truly belongs, on his own actions, his own thoughts, and the free. Number 2, become the person you admire. Many people wait for a perfect moment to start becoming the person they want to be. They wait for motivation, for external validation, or for life to magically align in their favor. But as Epictetus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. The path to self-improvement is not something that happens to you. It's something you create, step by step, with every action you take. A modern-day Stoic knows that identity is not found. It is built. If he wants to be disciplined, he does not wait until he feels disciplined. He wakes up early, he trains his body, and he follows through on his commitments, even when motivation fades. If he wants to be wise, he does not simply wish for wisdom. He reads, he listens, and he applies what he learns. If he wants to be courageous, he does not wait until he feels brave. He takes action despite his fears. Think of an aspiring writer who dreams of publishing a book. He tells himself that one day, when he has more time, when he feels more confident, when inspiration strikes, he will sit down and write. But that day never comes. A Stoic, however, understands that waiting is just another form of avoidance. He decides, I am a writer, and then he does what a writer must do. He writes every day, no matter how uninspired he feels. This principle extends beyond careers and creative pursuits. If you want to be kinder, start speaking with kindness today. If you want to be more patient, practice patience in the small moments. If you want to be respected, carry yourself with integrity before anyone else acknowledges it. You don't become virtuous by accident. You become virtuous through deliberate action. Too many people seek identity in external validation. They want to be recognized as intelligent, successful, or admirable. But a Stoic does not seek recognition. He seeks truth. He does not concern himself with whether others see him as great. He only concerns himself with whether he is living up to his own standard. And that is why he does not hesitate, does not wait for permission, and does not waste time imagining who he could be. He simply becomes. The world is full of people who talk about who they want to be. The Stoic is different. He says nothing, he simply acts. Number 3, master your reactions, master your life. Most people believe that their emotions are dictated by the world around them. If someone insults them, they feel angry. If they lose a job, they feel devastated. If plans don't go their way, they feel frustrated. But a modern-day Stoic knows that emotions don't come from external events. They come from within. Epictetus put it simply, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In today's world, it's easy to fall into emotional reactivity. Social media thrives on outrage. News headlines are designed to provoke anxiety. Even in personal life, minor inconveniences like a delayed flight or a rude comment can trigger a storm of frustration. But a Stoic sees these moments for what they are, tests of character. Consider a man who gets cut off in traffic. His initial impulse might be to honk, curse, or stew in anger for the rest of his drive. But what does that accomplish? The other driver is already gone, unaffected. The only person suffering is the one who chose to react emotionally. A Stoic understands this and instead takes a deep breath. He reminds himself that his peace of mind is worth more than a moment of anger. Or think of a person who faces criticism at work. An insecure person might dwell on it for days, replaying the words in their head, feeling bitter or defensive. A Stoic, however, steps back and asks, is this criticism valid? If it is, he learns from it. If it's not, he discards it without a second thought. Either way, he remains in control. Mastering your reactions doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It means directing them where they are useful. Anger can be channeled into self-improvement. Frustration can be transformed into patience. Disappointment can be used as motivation. The modern Stoic understands that the greatest power a person has is control over their own mind, and in mastering this, he becomes unshakable. Number 4. Stop overthinking. Most of your problems are in your head. Fear and anxiety dominate modern life. People stress over things that haven't happened yet, imagine worst-case scenarios, and let their thoughts spiral into endless loops of doubt. But as Seneca wisely pointed out, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. A modern-day Stoic knows that most of what people fear never actually happens. The fear of failure stops people from pursuing their dreams, yet even failure itself is rarely as catastrophic as the mind makes it seem. The fear of rejection prevents people from forming meaningful relationships, yet rejection is often temporary and insignificant in the grand scheme of life. Imagine an athlete preparing for an important competition. His mind races with worries. What if I make a mistake? What if I embarrass myself? But none of these things have happened. They exist only in his imagination. If he lets them consume him, he will step onto the field already defeated. A Stoic, however, would recognize these thoughts for what they are: illusions. He would focus only on what is real, his training, his discipline, his effort in the present moment. The same principle applies to daily life. Someone waiting for test results from a doctor might spend days agonizing over worst-case scenarios. But does worrying change the outcome? All it does is make him suffer twice, once in his imagination, and once, if necessary, in reality. A Stoic acknowledges his fears, but refuses to give them power. He reminds himself that worrying about the future is futile. His energy is better spent living fully in the present. Overthinking is a thief. It steals time, peace, and joy. The modern Stoic understands that the mind is a tool, not a master. He trains himself to recognize when his thoughts are spiraling out of control and brings himself back to the moment. Because here, in the present, life is always simpler than the mind makes it out to be. Number 5. Take responsibility for your life. It's easy to blame others for your problems. People blame their parents for their upbringing, their boss for their lack of career growth, or society for making life difficult. But as Epictetus said, to accuse others for one's misfortunes is a sign of want of education. To accuse oneself shows that one's education has begun. A modern-day Stoic knows that the moment he stops blaming others is the moment he takes true control of his life. Blaming external circumstances might feel justified, but it accomplishes nothing. Complaining doesn't fix problems. Action does. Imagine a person stuck in a dead-end job. He spends years resenting his boss, feeling undervalued, and blaming the company for his lack of progress. But is the company truly responsible for his stagnation? Or is it his failure to seek new skills, network, or look for better opportunities? A Stoic would recognize that while external circumstances can be difficult, his response to them is entirely his own. He can choose to stay where he is, or he can take action to change his situation. The responsibility is his alone. This mindset applies to relationships as well. If someone consistently attracts toxic people into their life, they might blame others for being manipulative or untrustworthy. But a Stoic asks, what am I doing to allow this? Perhaps they tolerate poor treatment, ignore red flags, or fail to set boundaries. The moment they take responsibility, they regain power. The modern world is full of people who feel like victims, but the Stoic refuses to be one. He understands that life is not about fairness, it's about resilience. He does not waste time wishing things were different. Instead, he asks, "What can I do right now to improve my situation?" And then he does it, because the only thing a person can truly control is themselves, and that is more than enough. Number 6. Live in the present. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. People spend so much time planning for the future that they forget to live in the present. They tell themselves they'll be happy once they reach a certain income level, once they find the perfect relationship, once they achieve success. But life doesn't work that way. As Seneca warned, the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. A modern-day Stoic understands that the future is uncertain, and waiting for it is a fool's game. Too many people trade away the only thing they truly have, the present moment, in exchange for a future that may never arrive. They spend their days grinding at jobs they hate, telling themselves they'll enjoy life someday. But what if someday never comes? Consider the person who postpones their passions. They always wanted to learn an instrument, write a book, or travel the world, but they keep pushing it off. "I'll do it when I have more time." Yet time is never guaranteed. How many people reach old age only to realize they spent their entire lives preparing to live, but never actually lived? Or take the ambitious entrepreneur who never takes a moment to appreciate the journey. Every achievement is just another stepping stone to the next goal. He tells himself that once he hits a certain revenue milestone, then he'll relax and enjoy life. But when he reaches that milestone, he only raises the bar higher. A Stoic recognizes that chasing the future endlessly is a trap. The only moment that exists is now. This doesn't mean a Stoic ignores planning or ambition, but he understands that happiness does not exist in some distant future. It exists in the way he chooses to live right now. He does not rush through life in a constant state of waiting. He enjoys his morning coffee, not just as fuel for the day, but as a small pleasure in itself. He appreciates the people around him, knowing that no moment is guaranteed to repeat. He works toward his goals, but he does not sacrifice this moment in pursuit of some imagined future happiness. The modern Stoic lives fully, without hesitation. He understands that the past is gone, the future is unknown, and all that remains is the present. And so, he does not waste it. Number 7. Build mental resilience. Difficulties make you stronger. Most people avoid discomfort at all costs. They seek the easiest path, the most comfortable existence, the least amount of hardship. But a Stoic knows that adversity is not the enemy. It is the foundation of strength. As Seneca put it, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. In modern society, the desire for an easy life is stronger than ever. Everything is designed for convenience, instant gratification, quick solutions, and paths of least resistance. But avoiding difficulty only makes people weaker. True resilience is built by facing challenges, not avoiding them. Consider an athlete who never pushes beyond his comfort zone. He never lifts heavier weights, never runs beyond his limit, never embraces discomfort. What happens? He stagnates. His body remains weak. Meanwhile, the person who embraces struggle, who forces himself to endure difficulty, becomes stronger with every challenge. This same principle applies to the mind. Take someone who avoids confrontation because they fear discomfort. They let people walk over them. They suppress their opinions. They tolerate poor treatment. Each time they avoid difficulty, they reinforce weakness. But if they learn to face uncomfortable situations, speaking up, setting boundaries, handling conflicts, they grow into a stronger, more resilient version of themselves. Or consider someone who has faced real hardship, loss, failure, betrayal. These experiences can break a person, but a Stoic sees them differently. He does not say, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, he asks, "How can I use this?" Every hardship is an opportunity to build character. Every failure is a lesson. Every setback is a chance to develop patience, wisdom, and resilience. The modern Stoic does not wish for an easy life. He knows that easy lives produce weak minds. Instead, he embraces challenges, knowing that they shape him into someone stronger. When others complain about difficulties, he sees them as gifts, because he understands that life will test him whether he likes it or not. The only choice he has is whether he will rise to meet those challenges or let them break him. And so he trains his mind like a warrior trains his body. He welcomes discomfort. He embraces struggle. And through this, he becomes unshakable. The wisdom of the Stoics isn't just something to think about. It's something to live by. The moment you stop waiting, stop blaming, and start focusing on what you can control, everything changes. You become stronger, more resilient, and truly free. But Stoicism isn't about just knowing these ideas. It's about applying them every single day. Start now. Take control of your mind, your actions, and your time. If you found this video helpful, please like and share it to spread the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss future videos on Stoic living and personal growth. Thank you for watching, and I wish you strength on your journey.